Hey, what's going on guys? Asher and John here, and today we're going to be going over how to do the Hollowed Lair Strike on Grandmaster difficulty. But before we jump into it, I ask you want to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, links, tutorials, and more. That you go and subscribe to my channel, otherwise let's jump into it. So I guess starting off here, let's go and talk about the loadouts here. If you're not aware, this is an all Scorn Strike, and this is the first time that we actually see Scorn champions in a Grandmaster Nightfall. So with that being said, the featured champions are going to be Overload and Unstoppable. Just to give a heads up, there's a lot of Unstoppable. Something in particular that I noticed is that the Scorn champions actually seem to be pretty tanky compared to the average champion. I'm not sure if that's unintentional or not, or if it's just the weapons I was using. But yeah, these Scorn champions are pretty tough. Also, in terms of shields, there actually wasn't that many shields, but there does come up at least one of every shield. So when thinking about loadout, make sure you have at least one arc weapon, one void weapon, and one solar weapon. Anyways, moving on to the loadouts that we had two Stasis Warlocks and one Bottom Tree Hammers Titan. Obviously, Stasis Warlocks were abusing the Bleak Watcher aspect on Stasis. In terms of my own loadout, I was using a Ignition Code with Blinding Grenades, a Tiku's Divination, and a Threaded Needle. Basically, the whole idea of this strike is ad control, hence why I'm using the Blinding Grenade Launcher and the Tiku's Divination. And it's mainly due to the fact that the boss fight is super health gated, if you're familiar with the strike. So because of that, DPS isn't really that important, and you'll see that in the gameplay a lot. I end up using my primary weapon for DPS sometimes. You also notice that my teammates were using a Agger Scepter and Reed's Regret, as well as Wyver Horde and Reed's Regret, and they were also both using arc bows. If you want to use that as well, go ahead, but I think my overall recommendation for the loadout is going to be Ignition Code with Blinding Grenades, and then one person runs a Tiku's, one person runs a Trinity Ghoul, and then the third person should run a Lay Monarch. Obviously, 3 Stasis Warlocks is going to be the absolute best, abusing the Bleak Watcher aspect. Like I said, it's all about ad control. However, a Stasis Hunter or a bottom or top tree Tever Hunter should also work, as well as a bottom or top tree Hammer Titan. I do not recommend using anything melee based in this strike purely because certain enemies can pop out mini Screebs, and yeah, you can get one hit by those, by the way. In terms of mods, I recommend specking towards heavy ammo and special ammo finders for your weapons. In terms of resistance, the enemies actually kind of use almost every element, including stasis, so using a general element resist mod isn't going to be that too effective, so I'd probably have to recommend using concussive dampener and sniper resistance. And then lastly, for artifact mods, I recommend running obviously Overload Bow and Unstoppable Linear Fusion / Fusion Rifle. And then if you want, you can run Particle Deconstruction, as well as the other artifact mod on the class item that gives you your melee back when you stun an Overload champion. It also makes it so that your melee can stun Overload champions if you're on solar or stasis. In terms of builds, I don't think you ever need a build when it comes to Grandmaster content, just because it could be a little difficult to pull them off. However, I do end up using a very simplistic Protective Light build, and I go into more detail in another video, which I'll have linked in the description down below if you want to check that out. That pretty much wraps up for the loadouts. Let's go ahead and break down the different sections of the strike. There's pretty much only 3 main sections that you really want to focus on. The in-between sections that I don't end up mentioning, my pretty much only advice there is just, like any Grandmaster Nightfall, sit in the back and take it slow. I don't have much to add there. Also, try to save your linear fusion shots for unstoppable champions and use it mainly just to stun. Maybe do a little bit of damage on that enemy, but try to save your linear fusion shots to stun stuff, because you do run out of ammo fast. Starting off with the first of 3 of the big main areas that we're going to be talking about is the tank section. First, when you're walking into this area, there's going to be a couple ads at the front there, and there's also going to be an Overload Chieftain, as well as an Unstoppable Abomination. Also, there's a couple of snipers that keep spawning in this room, and they're going to be on the left and right sides, all the way in the back. And do keep in mind that if you don't have a high enough resistance, or if you don't have sniper resist on, these snipers will one-shot. So anytime a room has snipers, do try to take them out fast. Anyways, once you've cleared everything out in the room, you want to go stand on the middle plate, which is going to spawn in the giant spider tank, as well as 2 unstoppable abominations, one on the right side and one on the left side. And also, there's going to be a bunch of ads that spawn in. So I recommend that once you're done sitting on that plate, you run to the back of the room and try and use these little half wall things for cover. Also, I would recommend ignoring the tank until you've killed not only all the ads, but also both unstoppable champions. Obviously, once everything is dead, you can go ahead and start damaging the tank. I'm also pretty sure that's the only time that ads end up spawning. They only spawn in that one time, so you should be able to just straight up kill the tank without any other additional enemies spawning. Once you completed that section and got through the connector area, you'll find your way to the 2 plates room. When you come in, watch out, there's going to be quite a bit of ads, as well as, I think, 2 overload champions. Once everything's dead, it's time to step on your first plate. I recommend stepping on it till your first batch of ads spawn in, and then stepping off, because if you don't step off and you continue to sit on it till it goes all the way down, there's going to be a ton of ads that spawn in. You're going to get overwhelmed very, very fast. So make sure you take baby steps. Also, there's 2 ways that you could approach doing the plates. You can either have everyone sitting up in the corner where the plate initially starts for you to step on, or you can just send one person to stand on the plate and the other 2 go sit in the back entrance where you came in. Anyways, once you've cleared both plates, you're going to need to run to the back of the room where you came in, because in the front, there's going to be a lot of ads spawning in, as well as a mini boss that you have to kill. And of course, this wouldn't be a Grandmaster Nightfall without everything hitting like a truck. Also, it's important to note that at certain intervals of the boss's health, there's going to be waves of ads that spawn in, as well as, I think, just 1 overload champion, so be aware of that. Once you've killed that mini boss and have cleared the bridge section, you are now in the boss room. Now, while the boss fight is scary, it's also kinda easy if you understand the rhythm I'm about to go over. First up, starting off, you're gonna wanna chill out on the right side for most of the time, because right side has the most cover. Do be aware that the boss will spawn a giant arc circle that will slowly take away at your health, so be aware of that. But the ads essentially spawn in extremely predictable waves. Once you take down the boss a certain amount of health, the boss will spawn waves of ads in certain areas. Once you do enough damage, he's first going to spawn a wave of ads on the right side where you guys are actually supposed to be standing. It's pretty easy to melt these wave of ads pretty fast. Do watch out for the mini screebs. And then once you either get him close to teleporting away into his little hidey room, or you make him actually do it, he's going to spawn a wave of ads in the exact same way on the left side. Once you clear that wave on the left side, you're going to want to hang out on the right side again, or in the back middle, and a whole bunch of ads are going to spawn in the middle, more towards the front where the boss is in his little hidey hole. I do recommend using at least 1 super during these waves to make it go by faster, because you can obviously get overwhelmed pretty fast. But the other thing is, I also recommend at the same time holding on to a super, because there is the potential that if the boss were to glitch out while he is sucking you towards him, you may need to pop a super to survive, because that is a pretty prevalent bug. Also, at some point during these ads that are spawning in the middle, there is going to be a overload champion that spawns, so watch out for that. Once you kill all the ads in the middle, the boss is going to come back into the arena and you can damage him again. You're going to want to go ahead and damage him till he turns purple and immune, and then he's going to do the sucky thing. At this point, you got to damage him with arc, because he has a giant arc shield, and he's going to switch to a void shield, and you got to damage him with void. And once you break his shield, he stops sucking you. My main recommendation for taking down that shield fast is to just use your heavy. It really doesn't matter if you're matching the elements or not, just use your goddamn heavy. It's gonna go down fast regardless if everyone's shooting at him. Once you come out the first suck, do not damage the boss at all, because you're gonna have a couple of ads that are spawning in on the left side, so you're gonna want to take those out, and also try to make sure you be on the right side. Just try and be on the right side at all times, because that's the safest area. Once all the ads are dead, you're gonna want to damage the boss till he turns purple immune. He's gonna do the sucky thing again. You take down his shield, you run away. If you can, at this point, you can damage the boss till he turns purple. However, I would recommend going to the right side immediately and taking down those ads. Once all the ads are gone and the boss has turned purple for the third time and teleported away, you're going to be on your final wave of ads in the middle again. It's going to be pretty similar to the first time you did this, except instead of a overload champion that spawns in, it's actually going to be a unstoppable champion. Once you clear all the ads, the boss is going to come back in the arena for the final time, and you're going to want to damage him till ads spawn in on the right. Also be aware, since he's in the third and final phase, he's going to be rapid firing his arc circle, so sometimes there can be 2 of those up at the same time, so be very cautious there. Anyways, once you get him down low enough, he's going to spawn the ads on the right side, take them down right away, and then you're going to want to damage the boss till he turns purple immune. He's going to do the sucky thing again. Once he's done doing the sucky thing, you're going to want to get to the right side, and then you're going to have to damage him enough again till ads spawn on the left side, in which you're going to have to try and wipe them out quickly, and then you damage him enough to do the sucky thing for the final time. And then after that, you're just going to have to quickly melt him, because there is going to be ads that spawn in the back of the room, aka the entrance where you came in, and there's just going to be a whole bunch of nasty stuff that spawns in, so at that point, you're going to want to melt the boss with whatever you got. And obviously, once you kill the boss, the strike is over. At the time making this video, not only is double loot active on the Nightfall, but the featured weapon is the Yuzume Sniper, as well as the Plug 1 Fusion Rifle. However, because of this strike's difficulty and length, I do not recommend farming this Nightfall whatsoever. If you have any additional tips or comments, put in the comment section down below. If you found this helpful, go ahead and give a like. If you want to keep up to date on this kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe. This was Ace Trainer John, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.